Mets win, baby, 5-4 over the Cleveland Guardians to complete the series win over them as they have the second game of the doubleheader coming up tonight, which is why that I'm going to keep this on the shorter side of things. But I was in attendance for this game, which is why this is going up late also. So it's super confusing. But we are going to talk about this game. Before we jump into it, if you're new to Met Central, please be sure to subscribe to the channel as we are here growing and we're looking to become the biggest Met page on YouTube someday. So be sure to subscribe to help us out. Leave us a like as well if you do enjoy the content and turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live here on the channel. But let's talk about the game. And to start things off, it was apparently found out afterwards that Max Scherzer was pitching with a messed up thumb or whatever, and he said it was equivalent to having a sprained ankle and playing basketball or something like that. So just got to say, tip of the cap to Max Scherzer because he had himself a very solid start. And the fact that he gave 6 innings as well, hallelujah, because I never thought I'd see the day where the Mets could get a start and go that deep. But there are some questionable things also when it comes to this game, when it comes to managerial decisions and things like that. But we're going to talk about all of it. So let's start. And it starts off pretty good for Max Scherzer. He gets a strikeout on Steven Kwan, grounds out Rosario, allows a walk to Ramirez, almost gets the strikeout there, but then forces Naylor to fly out to end the inning. We go to the bottom of the first, and the Mets unfortunately couldn't do anything to get a run early as Nimmo and Lindor line out back-to-back. Jeff McNeil then gets a single, and then he is able to advance on a wild pitch, and Pete Alonso lines out to end the inning. We go to the top of the second, where Scherzer would get a 1-2-3 with a strikeout, and then some nice defense there from Jeff McNeil to get the final out there on Tyler Freeman. Bottom of the second, Mets had an opportunity, a great opportunity, that is, to go ahead and add to this lead, and unfortunately, it just did not happen as Brett Beatty, he ends up walking the lead off the inning, and then Starling Marte gets himself single. And was this when I want to make sure that this wasn't the moment? No, this wasn't it, but he gets himself a single regardless. So you got 2 on with no outs. Vogelbach flies out. Gary Sanchez, welcome to the Mets. He strikes out in his first at bat. Eduardo Escobar with a walk, and then Brandon Nimmo grounds out softly to first to end the inning. We go to the top of the third, and Mike Zunino, he gets himself an infield single, which was infuriating because they ended up calling it out at first. They, of course, go to video review after the Guardians challenge it. They got both challenges right in this one, and ends up being a single. But Scherzer gets through the rest of the inning as he gets the remainder of the out. So we go to the bottom of the third. The Mets go down in order as Lindor grounds out, McNeil flies out, and Alonso grounds out. Top of the fourth, Ramirez with a fly out, Naylor with a strikeout, and then Josh Bell ends up getting a single, but he decides for whatever reason to lollygag his way over to second, and Starling Marte just guns him down at second base, and it wasn't even close. We go to the bottom of the fourth. Brett Beatty leads things off with a strikeout, and this was another just infuriating inning. They got a run, but it was infuriating as Starling Marte gets a single. Okay, and he's falling asleep there, and he gets picked off at first as he's just fixing the oven mitt on his hand, and Bybee picks him off, and all of a sudden there are 2 away. Vogelbach then walks Gary Sanchez with a pretty good single, actually, and then Eduardo Escobar gets himself a single, and Vogelbach scores from second, and they tried to send Gary Sanchez too, but unfortunately he gets gunned out at the plate. So 1-0 for the Mets, but that was a moment where it's like, oh, Marte, man, because the Mets could have had 2 runs there, and it would have made life easier. And we thought at one point that 1 run would have made the difference, but thankfully it didn't matter at the end of the day. Bottom of the fifth, the Mets go down in order. Guardians in the top of the sixth. They have Straw ground out. Kwan gets a single, and then back-to-back outs there from Rosario and Ramirez. We go to the bottom of the sixth, where the Mets would add to their lead, thankfully, as Pete Alonso and Brett Beatty with back-to-back singles, and then Starling Marte grounds out. Daniel Vogelbach with a huge walk, and then Gary Sanchez with a sacrifice fly to get himself an RBI, and that makes it a 2-0 game. Not mad about that. Don't expect much from Gary Sanchez during what I expect to be a brief tenure here with the Mets. So, I'll take that any day of the week. Thank you for your contributions. And then Eduardo Escobar pops out we go to the 7th inning where Brooks Raley comes in, and this is where things get a little interesting. So he gets a 1-2-3 inning. We'll get back to Brooks Raley, who looked very sharp, by the way, and he had 9 pitches. Keep that in the back of your head. Eli Morgan comes in for the Guardians, and Brandon Nimmo, first pitch swinging, hits a home run to right field and makes it a 3-0 game. Okay. Didn't expect some power from Brandon Nimmo in this one, but sure. And then Lindor strikes out. Jeff McNeil then gets himself a single, but gets tagged at second. Unfortunately, they go to video review, and yeah, they overturn the safe call that was initial, and they call him out. Alonso then strikes out. Top of the 8th inning, Adam Ottavino comes in. Why did they not keep Brooks Raley in with only 9 pitches? You and I don't have the answer to that one, but Tyler Freeman gets a leadoff double, and Bo Naylor comes in. The pitch hit for Zunino. He grounds out, and then Miles Straw grounds out, but that unfortunately would bring in the run to make it a 3-1 game. Steven Kwan then with a double, and then Ahmed Rosario with an RBI single to make it 3-2. And they had to buy their time for David Robertson. And all of a sudden he comes into the game, and yeah, you could tell he was rushed into the game, considering I think this was on the first pitch, or it was one of the first few pitches. Yeah, Jose Ramirez hits one to center field or left center, whatever, and makes it a 4-3 game. They review it for whatever reason. The Mets decide to challenge as if that didn't clearly go over the fence. But yeah, that made it a 4-3 game. And all of a sudden it felt like, yeah, the Mets were going to lose this game, weren't they? Naylor grounds out to end the inning, and Robertson and crew get booed off of the field. Tyler Steffen came in to pitch for Morgan, and Brett Beatty leads things off with a walk, and then hallelujah, Starling Marte, he ends up getting a huge home run to right field to make it a 5-4 ball game. So that was huge, and he made up for him being very lazy and falling asleep there at first base. Gets a huge home run, 5-4 game. Daniel Vogelbach then with a single, and Tommy Pham comes in the pitch run, and then unfortunately he gets a stolen base, but unfortunately the Mets go down in order the rest of the way as Sanchez and Escobar strike out, and then Brandon Nimmo with a ground out, and then Robertson ended up staying in the game. They made a couple defensive changes, bringing Canna in, taking Beatty out of the game, putting Escobar at third, McNeil to second, and thankfully it was a very easy inning for the most part, as Brennan ends up grounding out. Urias ends up getting a single, and then back-to-back outs from Freeman and Naylor. That is the end of your ball game, and the Mets end up winning it. Your winning pitcher is David Robertson. Your losing pitcher is Steffen. I don't know his first name, to be honest with you, but overall, very happy with the effort from most of the Mets today. Lindor, obviously, with an 0-4. You don't like to see that, but the rest of the Mets all getting themselves a hit. Yeah, I'm very happy with that. And then a couple RBIs for Marte. Gary Sanchez getting the sacrifice fly. Who would have had that on the bingo card? Scherzer looked good. The Raley looked good. Ottavino, not so much. Robertson, he probably rushed into the game, but the Mets end up winning it. Like I said, sorry I'm keeping this short. I had to go more in depth and continue to go on with the video, but unfortunately, I do have to wrap this up because of the fact that the game is going to be on soon. Game 2, that is, and I want to get this up before game 2 starts. So that's going to be it for me. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Remember to leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you guys are new, especially if you're Met fans. Turn on your notifications so you know when we upload or go live next. And I will see you guys in the next one. Let's go, Mets.